Yo, what's going on, man? This is the BeBall Jones podcast. I am simply a basketball trainer with a basketball podcast. My goal is to present the game to you from a different angle, educate you with a unique perspective, and also change your mindset along the way. Thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoy. What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to another episode of the BeBall Jones podcast, and I am here with another dope hooper. You feel me? This is going to be a fun one because I think that when you guys get to hear from people who are like a couple steps ahead of you on how they got there, and it's just something about like having, I don't want to say like a mentor, but having somebody who's like ahead of you can kind of like put you on game of how they got there. And so I have someone who's done that for you, and I have Miss Fisher here in front of me. It's sad that I really like almost messed that up, and just to make sure, I just want to go that route because that would have been really bad. So I'm gonna just keep everything safe. You feel me? So, how you doing? Everything good?
I'm great. Happy to be here.
I'm so glad that you're here. It means a lot. Woo, man, this is a wonderful start to this podcast. That is amazing. So what's going on with you, man? What's been happening in your life?
Not much. We started the first day of official practice today. Mm-hmm. School has been school. I'm in 5 classes this semester, so 15 hours. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm just excited for season to start and get through October so we can get to some games and yeah, kill it.
So is that a guarantee that you're going to win conference? Is that what I'm hearing?
That is a guarantee that I'm going to do my best and put my team in the best position to get there.
Mm. So you're not guaranteeing it, but you're kind of like saying that Rice will be in position to win the conference. Is that what I'm hearing?
I'm not saying it, but if you're saying it, I am nodding my head yes.
My job here is to ask questions. That's it. You feel me? I'm not doing anything more, anything less. That's what I get paid. Well, I don't get paid to do it, but that's the goal, to get paid to do this. You feel me? So I'm just asking questions because they want to know. So I just want to ask for them on behalf of them, you know. Right. So if you guys didn't understand, she said she's stamping it, guaranteeing that Rice is going to win conference. I just want to translate that for you guys. But
okay, yeah, I'll go. We can go with that. That's fine.
I'm gonna figure out how to edit it to where you did say it. Like, you know how they do like the AI thing, and it's
don't do that. That's crazy.
That would be messed up if I did. I don't even know how to do that, but that would be cool just to mess with you. But nah, what's it been like hooping at Rice and being in that conference?
Well, we just moved conferences this year. So last year we were in Conference USA. This year is going to be our first one competing in the American. But playing basketball at Rice it's been amazing. I feel like we don't see as often kids staying at schools all 4 years or putting as much emphasis on staying at a school and just competing and growing a program. And I've been so blessed to love where I am and love doing it with the people that I'm doing it with that I honestly couldn't imagine playing anywhere else under anybody else. You know, our head coach, it was her first year as a head coach when I came in as a freshman. So we've built the last 3 years together or last 2 going on 3. So it's been really fun. A lot of opportunities. Amazing people, yeah.
Did you, when you were growing up, did you see yourself being in this position and be like, yo, I'm a D1 hooper doing my thing at this level? Or did you kind of just like, whatever?
This is a funny question. It's always funny because short answer, yes. Long answer, my mom played in college. She played at Middle Tennessee State, All-American. My dad was All-American in high school. He ended up playing football at University of Tennessee. So I think they had a plan for me to play college sports before I was even a thing.
Mm-hmm.
Basketball has been a part of my family and my life for as long as I can remember. My mom was the director or assistant director to a youth group in our community that ran a little kids league, and as soon as I was tall enough, not even old enough, as soon as I was tall enough, I was playing, and no one guessed the thing that I was probably 2 years younger than everybody else.
Mm.
So yeah, I've known.
So was it your choice or theirs to hoop?
So I think when I was younger it was their choice, and then I would say probably 8th grade to 9th grade it started becoming my choice.
Mm-hmm.
And then 11th grade is when I decided I was going to play basketball in college for sure, because my 9th grade year I picked up volleyball just to try something else. I didn't always love basketball. I was always good at it. But I wanted to try something else, and I tried volleyball, and I ended up being really good at volleyball. Broke school records. We went to the state championship twice, won it once in volleyball. And so I was like, okay, I'm good at this too. And I had 3 dual offers to play volleyball and basketball in college.
Okay.
And at some point I had to make a decision if I wanted to continue playing basketball or if I wanted to switch to volleyball. And honestly, I would have switched to volleyball if my recruiting didn't start so late. I was getting recruited for basketball since middle school, so I already was established kind of in the network of college coaches. A lot of them knew my name, knew my face, but volleyball, you get recruited so early, like even earlier than middle school. Like girls are committing probably by their freshman year. I think that's changed now, but there was no way I could go to a place as big as I wanted with the opportunities that I wanted to play in and play volleyball. So I ended up sticking with basketball, and I don't regret it.
So what about basketball made you lean into it more? Like you battling between each sport. Why did you pick basketball?
Honestly, I was just more established in it. I was comfortable playing basketball. I knew I was a dominant player. I knew I was always going to be a dominant player. Volleyball was more shaky. I was coming in. I didn't know the rules. I still don't know the rules. I was just athletic. I was just an athletic kid that could jump, and I'm not going to say all you have to do is hit a ball. Don't quote me on that. Any volleyball player who sees that, I know how hard it is. But in high school, it's way less serious. So I was really good in the high school setting. But yeah, basketball, I knew what I was doing. And that for me, I'm not a very, what's the word? What's the word I'm looking for? I'm just not going to jump into something if I don't know the reaction or what's going to happen. So basketball was a comfort zone for me.
So you're more of a cautionary person. You like to have a little bit of stability and security when you move around. Would that be accurate?
That would be accurate. I like to know what's going on. It's so funny in high school. When I was playing volleyball, people literally had to pull me to my spots because I didn't know where to go. I didn't know the rules. So yeah.
How tall are you?
I'm 6'1".
6'1".
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, I'm not gonna say I'm jealous. You feel me? It's okay.
I won't ask how tall you are then. Oh, we won't put it on record.
I'm just not 6'1". That's all we're gonna know. That's
That's
all I'll say.
okay. That happens.
That's it. You feel me? How tall were you in? You said 7th grade, 8th grade when you start taking it kind of serious.
Mm-hmm.
How tall were you then?
I I was probably 5'11" in 8th grade.
Sheesh.
Yeah, maybe like an inch shorter, but I was really tall. I grew very fast.
I can tell you about to hit 6 feet in the 8th grade. Like, golly. Was that weird
Yeah.
for you growing up to being that tall?
Um, no, I think I was always the tall kid. I've always been the tallest. I was always the tallest, like tallest girl, and out of the boys too. And then I came to 8th grade one day, and all the boys shot up, and then I felt normal at that point.
Mm,
Uh, but yeah, I think growing up, and my mom's tall. My mom is 6'1". My dad is 6'3". My brother's 6'3". So I've
mm.
grown up around tall people, and then always being around sports and being around athletes. It's not until I go to Kroger that I feel like oh my gosh, I'm kind of tall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I dealt with that too growing up on the opposite side of it because I'm always around hoopers and I'm a guard. So it's like
Mhm.
I'm always the shortest guy on the court, or at least one of the shortest guys. So it's like, all right, whatever. And in my mind, I'm
Right.
like, I'm short because
Right.
6'1", 6'5", and 6'7". It's like, all right, bro, I'm short. And it literally took me until like maybe late in high school or college to be like, no, I'm not that sure about average height, for a guy. It's like
Right.
whatever. So it was kind of weird for me. Like for years, I'm thinking like I'm just this little short midget, 2 foot tall guy because all I see is 6 foot and up people, and here I am, little short B. It's like whatever. So I think basketball does have a way of skewing our perception of real life and what's I don't
Mhm.
say average life, but average life,
No,
like none less.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Uh, but I think for girls is more weird for you, especially for you, because like you shoot up being basically 6 foot tall, and then you stop, and it's like, bruh,
Right.
that's weird because you think you might go a couple inches, but it's like, all right, 7th grade, and you just here. Then next thing you know, everybody else just passes. Um,
Mhm.
you ever get bullied or anything for being so tall?
I wouldn't say bullied, but I think kids were pretty creative with the nicknames. Um, in middle school, my nickname was Big Bird, and I was fine with that. Like that's literally what I was called in middle school.
Mm.
And I got long neck a lot. It wasn't really my height. It was my neck got a lot of attention. Now you're like, yeah, don't. Um, no, I didn't get bullied. We'll just leave it at that.
I was just wondering because I had to think back to like middle school people. Like kids are mean in middle school,
So mean.
and so if you have anything that's stand outable, is that a word? It's a word now. If you have anything that's stand outable, that's like the target to like get talked about. It could be like a normal thing, but it's like within
Right.
this realm of who we are and where we are, that's an outlier. So we're going to make sure that's highlighted. It's like, oh, you're a little bit taller. Boom, found what to talk about. And kids can be like heartless and it's just like, yo, why are you so
Yeah.
mean? So I was like thinking through like, what was that, 12-year-old us, 13-year-old us?
Something like that. I would also add there were a lot of guys. So the school I was at, almost all the guys that I was friends with are now playing D1 sports. So
Mm,
I was tall, and then the girls, a lot of them are also playing college sports. We had a really dominant middle school, I would say.
I see.
So we had some tall people. Like I was tall, but it wasn't like, oh my gosh, like her head is about to hit the ceiling tall. So
Where are you from?
this is also a funny question. I was born in Nashville.
Mm,
Um, I lived in Nashville until I was 9, and then I have a stepdad, and he got a promotion, which moved us to New York for about 3 or 4 years. And then he got another promotion, and then we moved to Georgia. So I tell everybody I'm just from Georgia, unless they're from Tennessee, because I lived there not the longest, but that's what I remember most. That's where I feel like I really grew up and found my person and kind of connected with my environment. So Georgia, Atlanta, that's where I'm from.
So middle school, that was New York or Georgia?
6th grade was in New York, and then 7th and 8th grade were in Georgia.
I figured you had to be from the South because it's
Do
just
I have an accent?
no. I'm from the South, and I know we have
Oh,
like bigger human beings down here. So I was like,
sure.
I kind of figured that's somewhere down here. I was like, I didn't know exactly where. You go to school in Texas, I was like maybe Texas, but
Mm-hmm.
Bama, Georgia, Tennessee, sometimes Florida, we just have like bigger, taller human beings. Don't know how, don't know why, but
Mm-hmm.
that's just kind of
Yeah.
what geography has laid out for us. So that's kind of what my thought process was. I'm like, yeah, she got to be from the South. Like, yo, like, what are you doing right now? Like, for real? I I know what the problem is. You didn't got too comfortable. Things done got cute because you think what you did last week was cool. You think you can kind of relax, take a vacation this week. You think because how many points you jumped your career high, you dropped a little 30 piece last week. You thinking this week is just it's vacation time. It's time to relax and chill. It's not it, man. This new level means you have new challenges. So the work's not done yet. You're not able to just relax and just take a break because you have to outwork and outdo what you did yesterday. You have to work harder than you did before because the new level requires new things from you. So just as a reminder that when you get the next workout in, just keep as a reminder that progress is the only goal. Georgia hooping, what was that like? I know that was oof.
Very competitive from a very young age too.
Yeah.
Um, I was going on visits in 8th grade. Uh, I got my first offer in 9th grade. So those girls, it's so competitive. Like so many great athletes have came out of Georgia and the area that I was from.
Mm-hmm.
I loved it. My high school was great. The system in Georgia, the what's it called? I guess the basketball association in Georgia, and public schools and private schools, they're great. Playing in Georgia was a lot of fun.
So when your parents, what was the parenting like? Because you said you grew up with a dad that played pro, mom that played
Mm-hmm.
D1. What was their parenting like while you were kind of growing up and grooming into who you are today? Like, like, because a lot of parents, they force their kid to play, and it's like you're gonna be D1, and you're like the
Mm-hmm.
chosen one to an extent. Like, what was their
Sure.
parenting like for you?
They were honestly very hands off. I think they got a good amount of you're doing this, this, and this from their parents. And so me and my mom have kind of worked a relationship where she never talked to me after games about it. I was already so hard on myself. And so basketball, she didn't try to coach me, which I really appreciated. She just kind of let me figure it out, and if I asked for it, she gave me that advice.
Mm-hmm.
But if I didn't, she just kind of left me alone. But she wouldn't, honestly, if it wasn't for her, I probably would have quit basketball in
Mm.
middle school. um, there were definitely times when I didn't want to go to practice, and I was just kind of too young to understand the type of commitment that I was making. Um, and she was like, "No, you're too good to waste your talents that God gave you. I'm not going to let you throw that away.
Mm.
Use what you're good at or do what you're good at." Um, so if she sees this, thanks for that. Um, my dad, he's very competitive. My brother played Division 1 baseball, and now he is playing professionally baseball. So
Mm.
we had a very competitive back and forth growing up, and my dad kind of always pit us against each other of like, well, your sister can throw the ball harder than you can, or you're gonna let your brother take you to the basket like that. So very competitive, very let's get better, like get each other better. And honestly, as a young kid, and a girl, I didn't appreciate the brotherly love that I got as a kid. Yeah, we got mad at each other a lot, just out of pure competition and just competing with each other.
I'm not surprised because
Yeah.
guys in general, we're going to mess with our sisters. That's just that's like the rule book that we all got when we became brothers. Like you have to mess with your sisters. Like this, it's in our genetic code to do that.
Sure.
But then you sprinkle on dad being competitive and adding the sports in there too. It's like that's a recipe for y'all to just fight every day, and that's kind of not fight, but go at it and be combative in extent. So.
No, fight was the word. That was
I'll
the
try to
right
be
word.
nice. I know me and my sister used to fight. I have an older sister, well, 2 but the one I'm talking about right now, my like directly older than me sister. We used to fight a lot growing up, and I was super competitive growing up. So I was like, losing is not the option. We lose in this video game, we're gonna have to fight. We lose this board game, we're gonna have to fight. I'm not losing, so it's like, and I probably still lost the fight sometimes because she was bigger and older. So it's like, it wasn't fun for me a lot of times, but I figure out some kind of way to win. And like, I enjoyed it a lot. But when I did win, I'd rub it in her face. And
I bet she got mad. I know she got mad.
I used to be a
I
little
already know.
petty too, because like I'm tired of losing. I'm tired of losing. So we're just going to like make sure I win, and you're gonna know that I won. And that's kind of how it was growing up. But for y'all to be like an athletic one, because she didn't play a lot when I was. She played a little bit, but not enough to be like really talking about it like at y'all level. So did that competition ever like go too far or get to where, you know what, I'm not talking to you for like a week because I'm sick of you?
Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I'm like you in a sense. I hate losing, and he's bigger, older, whatever. But I just have this philosophy that I will quit before I lose.
Yep.
So there were a lot of times that I quit just because he was beating me, and he always got so mad. And when I quit, I'm already mad.
Yep.
I'm already, don't talk to me, like I don't want to play anymore. And I would just walk off. And he used to drove him crazy.
Yeah. I used to do the same thing with my sister. Like, we didn't play sports with each other, like really. We did basketball a little bit, but it was mainly like video games and whatever games we could have around the house. And it got to a point where she was just like destroying me. And I just mm-mm. You're not gonna get the satisfaction of knowing that the outcome was what you wanted. I quit the game. I'm not doing this. Like, so I just quit.
Yeah. I was throw the basketball across the yard, throw the glove down, hit the board, something. I don't know. I would just get so mad and then storm off.
Yeah. My trick was to either quit the game, restart the game, or just like stop playing. If she wouldn't let me do either option, I'd just stop playing and like, well, it doesn't count because I didn't finish the game out. So you didn't technically win and I didn't lose.
Exactly.
So I found any loophole I can for my record. Like if I'm down, my record's gonna stay right there. It's like a pause on my record because I'm not losing. So I'm glad we're here when it comes to our competitive nature and like not losing.
Exactly.
But did your mom ever like have to be the middleman or referee between the fights?
Oh gosh. I mean, sure. She's a middleman a lot. in a sense that if either one of my brother and I are mad at each other, we are both, neither one of us are gonna bring us back together. It was always my mom. She'd go to my brother, have a conversation with him, come to me, have a conversation with me, and then the next day it's like, hey, what's up? How are you? And honestly, it's still like that today, even though like we're both across the country doing our own thing. It's honestly really bad because now it's worse if we get mad at each other, but we won't call each other. And then I'll talk to my mom about it. My brother will talk to my mom about it, and then you get just a random text one day saying, "What's up?" So yeah.
What is the fight? What are the fights about now at this point? Like, he's across the country, so what are the fights about now between you and him?
Family stuff, or he loves to coach me on everything. Life, basketball. I just think he has this need to be the bigger brother and tell me what to do and make sure I'm not doing anything I'm not supposed to be doing and that I'm doing everything I need to be doing. He loves it. He just loves telling me what to do. And I hate it. It drives me crazy. And anytime he starts talking about basketball, I let him talk and then hang up the phone. That's really like, I like being coached by my coaches. Outside of that, don't tell me what to do. That sounds bad, but I feel like when I listen to somebody, I have to have a trusted relationship with that person, and I have to feel like they know what they're doing and they're not just giving me advice because they want to give me advice. They have to be credible. And all love to my brother, he's not a credible source.
That's a nice little shot, though. Okay, but I understand where you're coming from. But have you ever like took an opportunity and just like told him to shut up and like stop doing it, and kind of like not in that sense, but like just kind of like relax? Like, have you told him basically what you kind of just told me, like, hey, I appreciate it, but just let me do me? Have you ever had that conversation with him?
Sure. It didn't go that smoothly. But I've told him. He knows. And he's really good at reading my cues. So at this point, he's really good at saying, okay, I'll shut up now. But when we were younger, like when he had just gotten to college, and then my freshman year, we talked a lot about his experiences and what he's gone through, and then how that kind of translates to me. And we've had very different experiences. And so he's a talker. He needs to feel this. I'm actually not going to say that on camera. Never mind. We'll just say he's a talker. I lost my train of thought. Oh my gosh. I was about to get in trouble.
I have a feeling where you're going. Are you not a talker? You're more introverted, kind of like to yourself?
I am. I'm not a talker at all. I'm a talker in this setting.
Yeah.
Outside of that, not at all.
I know what you finna say, so don't worry. I got you. It's that's a
okay.
problem I
I'm
deal.
glad.
Yeah, I at this point in my life, I get more frustrated with people like that because I'm just like, yo, is something wrong with you? Because like, oh, never mind. 'Cause I'm gonna give it away. So yeah, I get you. I get you. We'll talk afterwards.
I'm gonna get in trouble for this one now. I'm definitely gonna hear about this.
Oh man,
it's okay though.
You didn't say it though. It's my fault. I'm sorry, big brother. It's my fault.
Go on to the next one. Oh.
Oh man. Okay. How do I pivot from that? Because that was a tough one.
That was abrupt.
Mm.
Um, hmm,
So okay, let's go back. Okay,
okay,
childhood, y'all got into it. Let's go back to basketball. Okay,
okay.
so that was a good pivot. It's not, but it's good enough. So you played basketball growing up. You
Mm-hmm.
kind of spent like 30 minutes talking about that. So at what point did you like know that you were going to be college ball? Like, it's one thing to kind of like get the offers and kind of like, you know what I mean? Like go through that
Mm-hmm.
cycle. But when did you like, oh, like I'm for real finna be a college athlete?
I think when I got my first offer, I was like, I can do this for real. And so that was in ninth grade. I got my first offer. So as soon as that came in, I was like, it's official. Like they can't take it back. I know I'm at least going somewhere.
Mm.
I have one. So
That's
and
all you
then
need.
exactly after that, they came in. The offers were rolling, and it was it was a good and bad process at the same time. I think being in it, it was frustrating. The amount of coaches I was talking to, and like the relationships that you have to build, and you gotta look at the schools, and you still have to focus on the now.
Hmm.
And looking back, not everybody has that same uh, journey and that same process.
Hmm.
I was very blessed. I had 35 offers
35.
my junior year without my last COVID season. You know, so I had a lot of options to choose from, which was great. But you can imagine the amount of people I was talking to that didn't offer me, or just having to have all those initial phone calls and all the visits. And I was so grateful to my mom. She took me on so many visits, and she was so present in my process so that I was able to figure it out. And she was a very big help to my journey in exposing me to colleges to allow me to take those visits,
Hmm.
and talking to the coaches themselves. So
I like how
yeah,
you
I
just
knew.
I like how you just skated past saying 35 offers. Like it's just
uh,
ain't like you said 3 to 5 offers. Like 3 or 5 offers, kind of like 35. Like come on, man. Like
yeah, 35. It was, yeah.
so
I
okay.
also,
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
mm, I was gonna say, I just don't like to brag on myself. I also, like, sometimes you tell people and they're like, oh my gosh, like, wow. Or they could be like, are you trying to, like, throw a flex or something? And it's like, no. So,
But
yeah.
I have you here to talk your stuff, so don't feel like you feel me. Like okay, now I'm like find opportunities for you to talk your stuff now, just because that happened. So it's gonna be fun moving forward. Um, 35 offers.
Okay.
Who were like the
That's,
top schools that you were kind of like see like I know you probably had other offers and it was like,
hmm
okay, cool. But who were like the main schools that you were kind of looking at?
So I didn't ever narrow down my options. Like, I never had like a top 10, a top 5, a top 2. I was talking to everybody up until the point that I committed. Um, but the ones, obviously, Rice was my last offer. Fun fact, like, my life could have completely been changed if they didn't offer me.
Hmm.
Um, I was deciding between here, Colorado, Boulder was a contender. I really like those coaches. No offense to my coaches. Oh, I was deciding between Western Kentucky. Um, there was another one. There's another school that I was looking at, but I can't remember. Those are the main three. And then ultimately I chose Rice. because it was in Texas and Colorado was out simply because I hate cold weather. And then I had a sit down talk with my AAU coach. His name is Rodney, and he told me, like, do you know how much these kids make off of a 4-year like bachelor's degree coming out of college? And the average salary of a Rice student is 76,000, like coming off a bachelor's. Which you compare it to other schools, and it just like obviously the Ivies, but like there was really no comparison. So Rice was just a catch-all place for me, and I also wanted to go as far away from home as I could. So I was really looking for like distance. That was honestly another factor in it. And I say that because I just wanted a new experience. You know, I would start in Tennessee, went to New York, came to Georgia, and then within that, I've never been at a school for more than 2 years. So I moved like within states a bunch of times. And so having like moving far away from my mom or being in a new place by myself, that wasn't really a factor for me, and I just wanted to experience something, and I think doing that has made me more independent as a person. And so yeah, I out of those 35, Rice was the best one.
Just imagine if you pick Colorado, like right now.
I couldn't even imagine. It's probably like covered in snow already, and that's just crazy.
I mean, with the whole Deion Finanza going on up there.
Oh, I'm not gonna lie, that would have been cool.
That would have
been. That would have been pretty cool.
Yo. You remember the Fab Five? I was a little before your time. You remember the Fab Five from Michigan? So there was this one point in college basketball where a group of guys called the Fab Five. They were 5 freshmen. It was like Jalen Rose, Chris Webber, Juwan Howard, Jimmy King, and somebody else. Can't remember the other guy name. Sorry, other person. But they all went to Michigan same year. And the coach at the time did something kind of unconventional. First off, they're 5 black guys. Then they're all freshmen starting together. And they really revolutionized college basketball during the 90s. So, you know how guys wear their shorts now, like how y'all wear them? That was the thing back in the day. And they were like, nah, coach, we ain't wearing them like that. Wearing them a little bit longer. They came out with black socks with the black shoes, and that wasn't conventional back then. And they just did so many like little things that we looked at as like normal because we just did that. But they were able to present that on TV, and it's like, yo, y'all putting on for the coach. Like, y'all really making us like we're having a representation on that platform where it's not a lot of us shining in that way.
Right.
And I think that, I don't know for sure because I was a little too young for that. But I wonder if Deion's doing that for the current day athlete. It's like, what kid looks up to Deion and sees what he's doing now? It's like, you brought Lil Wayne up. I mean, you got all the celebrities out to come into your games in Colorado, of all places. And knowing who he was in his past life as an athlete, he's bringing that same energy as a coach to this program. And they turned that program around. So I just wonder, like, is he the modern day football version of the Fab Five? So I don't know.
That's an interesting take on it.
Yeah.
I'll say my mom, she's a teacher, and she teaches at the school that Travis Hunter graduated from. So she knows, she doesn't know him. That's gassing it, but yeah, there's that connection. Gwinnett County, that's where I'm from in Georgia. I swear they produce nothing but athletes.
As you can be living proof of that.
I can attest. Absolutely.
Yeah. So you picked Rice. And you got there. First year, freshman year. How was it?
Yeah. Freshman year was a movie, for sure.
Let's hear this movie.
Um, in a sense that I came in completely new coach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we had 4 starters leave because of the coach left.
Mm-hmm.
What else happened? So I've been starting since I was a freshman. We had 8 people on our team the entire year. I think we probably had like 9 or 10 people, but there were one person tore her ACL, so she couldn't play, and then we had another on injury reserve. So we were playing with 2 subs whole year. Um, it was so crazy, and then the whole process of being a freshman and moving across the country by yourself is just a journey within itself, and
Mm-hmm.
learning all the things that you have to learn. In school, Rice is not for the weak, for sure. So that was a giant adjustment.
Mm-hmm.
Um, what else? My freshman year, we ended up going into a 4 overtime game. We finished above 500. Uh, we were really scrappy, but we had no bench, so you can imagine, 6, 7 people going through a whole season, really with no subs. Um, and then it's a learning curve for us. It's a learning curve for the coaches. It was craziness. We had so many things happen. Like we have a joke. We could write a whole book with traveling. I think conference tournament was like the first time we didn't have a flight delay in one of our traveling things. So every time we
Really?
went to the airport, it was always something. Um, yeah, it was really fun though. Um, as a freshman, I got so much experience in that one year, and I think that's put me ahead of other people my age. Um, and just playing and learning the game so early,
Mm-hmm.
it's helped me a lot in my. I was gonna say tenure. That's not the right word, but my time as a basketball player. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
How was all of that for you mentally? Because that seems like a lot of different stressors at once. Like you said, adjusting to
hmm
just college life in general and just being a freshman in college,
Um,
student athlete, all the other stuff. How did you like deal with all of that?
it was really hard. I've also had like prior mental health history, so I think coming in and having to adjust so fast, and like I said, I like things being reliable, and I know what I want to like, what needs
Mm-hmm.
to happen. Um, it was a huge adjustment. I struggled a lot with my identity as a basketball player, as a person, like what kind of style do I want to have? Like, what kind of person do I want to be? You go into college. Am I gonna be average? Like, was my time only in high school, or am I gonna continue to progress and do those big things that people continue
Mm-hmm.
to talk about? And I think I finally got a grasp after second semester, and I could finally settle in. And I'm still really upset about this. I didn't get freshman of the year uh, to a girl at Western Kentucky. Great basketball player. She's really good, but she ended up getting. I want your opinion on this. If a person gets hurt in the middle of the
Mm-hmm.
season and they don't play the rest of the season, you think they can be contenders? And they had a really, really good start. They had a great
Mm-hmm.
start. I think she was probably freshman of the week four or five times, and then she got
Mm-hmm.
hurt, and then I got it. I was also got freshman of the week maybe like 3 or
Mm-hmm.
4 times. played the rest of the year. I got honorable mention as a freshman. Well, like, what? Anyways, I still get upset to this day, but it's okay because I feel like I've continued to prove myself in Conference USA. I was all freshman team and honorable mention out of everybody in the conference. So I pick and choose your battles. I had a good season. I had a great season.
That's just the part of you that's competitive and doesn't like to lose coming out again. That's all it was.
We'll chop it up to that.
But you get pretty frustrated, don't you? You get so angry sometimes with the fact that this big goal that you're going after, you're so far away from it sometimes. Like you're in the 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th grade, and you're just like, man, I can't wait to play college basketball. I can't wait to be able to play overseas. I can't wait to make it to the NBA or WNBA. And it gets frustrated sometimes to not be there yet. I got you. You understand? That means we have to practice more patience. We have to find peace in the middle where we are right now. Zoom in very detailed and figure out how can we get 1% better. How can we make progress right now where we at? All right, so take this marathon journey that we're on and zoom down to make it a daily sprint to go wherever you're going after. But while you're sprinting every day, copy you a t-shirt, get you one of these shirts as a reminder that progress is on the go. You said your mental health. What was the first exposure or incident that you're referencing to when we talk about your mental health?
I came in with a boyfriend. Bad idea. And you can imagine where that led. We broke up, went back and forth. That was a whole mess because I was just so head over heels for this guy, and then we're across the country. It didn't work out. And then at that time, my teammate was my roommate also, and then we were having problems. So then that kind of went into basketball, and then, we're fighting, broke up with my boyfriend. Now I have to go take a test and go to practice and just do it all at once. And there's really no breaks once season starts. And so if you let things build up, at some point they're just going to explode on you. And that's exactly what happened. And then I started out really strong. I probably had like 20 points in the first season as a freshman. And then probably around December is when I started taking a dip, and my performance wasn't meeting what I had been previously doing. And so there's also like that dip when you're like, okay, I know I can do better. I continue to show that I can perform at this level, and now I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing. And so now you're worried that you're not meeting other people's expectations. And so that also plays on you, which I think honestly expectations are one of the most like worrisome topics in terms of performance. And so I took that little dip and then got over the hump. Me and my teammate, we were all good again, best friends. And my performance picked up again. And I finished the season really strong. We went to the second round in Conference USA tournament. Didn't go to postseason, but I honestly don't think our team at that time could have played any more games. So it was okay. We made it the next year. We're going to make it this year and the year after that. So plenty of time to make up for that one year.
So you said things built up and it exploded. Define what explosion is.
The explosion is, and this is me. Like we're about to get real for a second. I'm not a talkative person. I'm not gonna complain if there's something going on. I'm not gonna tell you if something is bothering me. If I feel like I had a bad practice, that's all I need to have a bad practice. Somebody could tell me I did great, but if I don't deem my performance to my expectations, then it's still bad. And so when all those things pile up, it's just I get quieter and quieter. I stop talking. And communication, big thing in basketball,
Yep.
obviously. You have to talk. And so I would always get yelled at because I wouldn't talk. I wouldn't call my man. I wouldn't call a screen. I didn't want to open my mouth. If I open my mouth and talk, I was gonna cry. And most of the time that's what happened. There was a string of practices where every time I would walk in, I would just, as soon as someone spoke to me, I just, tears would just start coming out. I just couldn't hold those emotions in anymore. And then it got to the point where our head coach, Coach E, was like, okay, we need to talk. What's going on? What are you dealing with? And then I opened up to her, and I finally started going to therapy on campus and talking to somebody there. And then after talking to somebody for that long, I was able to kind of help myself out of it and just learn those coping mechanisms and those emotional regulation around being in such a high stress environment all the time. And I've seen that therapist and a sports psychologist. And one thing that just really stuck with me, that like us as athletes, we don't think about, and then people who aren't athletes don't, like, they don't really get those experiences, is that playing a sport at a D1 level with the amount of cameras and the eyes at any level, honestly, with just so many people watching you, it's already a high stress environment. And so you go through your normal life, and then now you're in school, and now you're talking about relationships and whatever else you have going on. If those things pile up too much, like there's a line up here, and if those things pile up to the line, and then you go to practice and it's just going to push it over the line, you're going to explode. Like, you're not going to be able to handle everything. And so I feel like I've gotten better at dealing with all these outside things so that they don't build up, so that there is room for the stress that I'm going to experience daily. And that just comes with being an athlete.
Are you the strong friend in your friend group?
I would say yes. I've gotten better, but for the most part, I'm probably going to be the last person that talks about how I feel with somebody.
Yeah.
I have my close friends now that I know I have to talk about stuff if something is bothering me, so that it doesn't build up. And so those friends that I do talk to, I'm so grateful that I feel like I can talk to them. But everybody doesn't get that side of me, and not everybody will get that side of me.
So usually you're the one that people come to you when they have issues, and they kind of like you're their therapist to an extent. With that, you think that's kind of what it was?
I don't know if I
I wouldn't say
put
the
that
therapist, but like people come to you and they
because
talk to you about the issues and stuff. Are you that friend?
no,
Mm,
I'm not. As much as I feel like I have a handle on
mm-hmm.
myself, I it's hard for me to give advice to other people just cuz out of the sense that I don't know what to say to you. Like it's I have a hard time already dealing with
Yeah.
me. Um I don't have the best advice for
Mm-hmm.
other people directly. General statements, this stuff, I can totally tell you what I've been through and what's helped me. And if that helps you, that's the goal. But like my teammates, I don't, very few times has someone directly come to me and is like, can you help me with this? No, that doesn't happen.
Okay. I was just wondering, but the the explosion, like you were talking about, is not a
Mhm.
surprise. I guess I could say, um, because
Mhm.
you're the quieter one. We established that a long time ago. You're
Right.
competitive, and it got to an extent
Right.
where you're internally competitive. You struggle with
Mhm.
adjustments, and things have to be kind of, it has to make sense here, and you have to feel safe and secure here. And when it's not, you kind of get uncomfortable. And for you, your comfort zone is to be
Right.
quiet. And so
Right.
mixing all of these external stressors and pressures around you made you revert back to quiet mode. And so
Mhm.
that when you go to quiet mode, you put the bottle cap on the lid, and you put the lid on the bottle, whatever, what the analogy is. It makes sense. You get
Mhm.
it. But
Right.
yeah.
It makes sense.
But
Absolutely.
with that, your emotions somehow keep going through. And it's like at some point you
Right.
have to let them out, but you don't. And that's
Mhm.
kind of why that makes sense. Because I'm the same way. I don't tell people stuff. Like
Mhm.
it's for what? You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
and a lot of times it doesn't help. Well, me personally, I don't have a lot of people to go to sometimes with certain issues. I got people that I can go, like my big brother,
Mhm.
love him. I can go to him with certain stuff. I got a guy, another guy, he's like my big bro. I can go to him about certain stuff. But
Mhm.
I've had to learn to figure out more ways to let that out than to not let it bottle
Right.
up now. So now I have adapted more and more. I'm not perfect with it at all. I still have moments where I'm just like, yo, this ain't the
Mhm.
day. This ain't the moment. Like, just, I just want to sit in my bed and to just be a turtle and
Right.
be left alone.
That I promise
Yeah.
you that makes sense.
But I'm glad that you did end up figuring out your outs and your outlets and everything before it went to the
Mhm.
next level or to the next extreme. So
Yeah.
um, you talked about kind of your identity and kind of struggling with that. Did that go along with the dip that you had? Like, okay, so you had your season, you dropping 20 points, giving people, the work.
Mhm.
What happened for, like, what was the incident that caused the dip? Or was it kind of like 20 points and then 16 and then 12 and then slowly dropping? Or was it like a 20 to 8 and then it's like flatline from there? What was the dip like?
Honestly, I don't remember. All I remember is that, you come out one day, everybody's like, "You're the best player ever. We love you," and then it turns into get her a
Mm,
sub, you know? Um, and that was hard because one, we didn't have a lot of people, and I used to think being subbed out was a very negative thing. I hated being subbed out because that just made me feel like I wasn't doing the right thing or that I'm messing up, and so that played into it. My attention span was awful, awful in my freshman year, to the point where, so you come out for a timeout and we're all sitting on the bench, draw up the play, coach is right in front of us drawing up the play, and then you go back out. I'd forget it instantly. So then I got moved to the middle every single time. Anytime there was a timeout, anytime there was any type of break, I had to sit in the middle, and then I always had to repeat back to somebody else what was just said, because I would just forget it. I wasn't thinking about basketball at that time. I was thinking about everything else, and I was thinking about, am I messing up? Am I doing what I need to be doing? I was thinking about the rebound I missed in the first quarter, and now it's third quarter, and a lot of things that just add up to me not doing what I need to do. And I actually had somebody tell me today, the way we think is what we manifest. And it's so true, because you think about all the negative things that you're doing, and you're just going to continue to do those negative things out of the pure simple fact that you're just thinking about it. And so I've had to get really good at moving on and next play. So I think that's been a big mind shift in what I've had to do. And our assistant coach, Nick, he's been great with just knowing the ins and outs of Malia on the court. And he can usually tell when I'm starting to get in my head. And so he's been a great person to have on the bench to just tell me to snap out of it, tell me to move on next play, or start talking about something else, so that my attention isn't all focused on what I just did. It's focused on what I need to be doing and how I can help the team. So that's been a big help.
Yeah. I have a girl that I train, and she is very hard on herself sometimes when she makes mistakes. But I found like little tricks and stuff to kind of get her outside of her head. So we were working on shooting, and she just had a rough day. Like she was missing free throws left and right. And it's like, bro, come on, bro. Like, you can make it. I'm not frustrated, but it's like, you can do this. What is going on? And it took me a couple of shots to realize it's just mental. Like, it's a little physical. If she was rusty, she was doing softball and other sports too. She had to get the feel back in basketball. But you got to a point where you realize, oh, this isn't anything about her body. It's the neck up. It's her head. And so a little trick I do is, she's missing. I don't say too much. I like to let the players figure it out. But it gets to a point where it's like, okay, you're too deep in your head. So I had to go up to him. Had a good day at school. Hey, you see that dude over there? You see what he just did? Like, that was crazy, wasn't it? Dang, that's wild.
It makes such a difference. It really does.
And I was like, somebody opened the door. I was like, oh, snap, what happened? No, you know them? I don't know them either. That's crazy. I like your shoes, man. You got some nice shoes on. When you gonna get me a pair? I wear, this is my size. Let me know what's up. And then I probably just other like random stupid stuff, just like for the heck of it. Get back to shooting, and then it's like a whole night and day difference. And then next thing you know, they start making it.
It is.
And kind of like what you said in psychology, it's like you're going down this rabbit hole of negative thoughts, and the miss piles up. So all you thinking is miss. Psychology trick is to get away from that. Like, you can do either think towards what you want to have, or just completely divert your attention away from what you don't want to have. So that's kind of what it is. Ideally, you want to think of what you want to have. So all I did was get your brain off of the miss. That's all I did. And it's crazy how that simple that works. So,
exactly.
it's my little nugget, you feel me? Like, you can take that.
Yeah, and it's as simple as that. It really is, because just the simple notion of, I'm not thinking that I'm about to miss this free throw, it makes all the difference.
Yeah. I'm big in like psychology and stuff too. I'm kind of a nerd for this stuff, but
I'm a psychology major. Fun fact.
Oh, if we have to talk, we're gonna have to have a couple conversations. Like, I'm not a psychology major, if anything. I didn't graduate, but that's another conversation. But I just like it. I don't know why. I don't know why I cling to it, but I just like it. Sociology and psychology. I like all this stuff. So we can talk about that. That's gonna be dope. But where do I want to go next? Oh yeah, the dip. I feel like the expectations you were talking about aligns with like the internal pressure you had and with just the regular pressure of basketball. And like you said, you only have like 2 people on the bench, so it's only so much you can do in the middle of the season like that. It's like, all right, bro, no break is coming soon. Like no subs are coming soon. We in the NBA or WNBA, we can just sign some more players. Like we all we got.
Right.
All of that compiled with the mentality of the subbing. Did you ever take a moment to step back and say, there are only 2 subs, so at some point I'm gonna get subbed out. Somebody has to get subbed, or were you just like so down on yourself that being subbed out was the ultimate like negative comment to your game?
Honestly, I would say it's a little bit of both. We only had 2 subs, so it's really like pick and choose who you want to take out, which is kind of how I saw it. And I was playing probably 25 minutes plus every single game. Most games, I played the entire game, and so I was just kind of used to not getting taken out.
Okay.
And the high caliber player that I've kind of always been through high school too. Like I rarely got subbed out. And so that combined, like that thought process combined with all the other things that I was doing, it was like, okay, sub, obviously I'm messing up, or I'm trying to figure out where she thinks I'm messing up. My biggest problem is that I put other people's thoughts, I think other people's thoughts for them. And trying to figure out what they're thinking is probably one of my biggest problems, is like the why I am always so negative towards myself. Another like kind of tidbit that I learned in what's it called, the sports psychologist. Oh my gosh, what was I gonna say? It's not necessarily other people's expectations that are too high or like that you're not meeting. It's what you think their expectations are for you that you're not meeting. And so kind of opening up that communication gap and always knowing, like now I ask questions. I'm not scared to ask questions. Why are you taking me out? What did I do? Most of the time it's just giving you a breather. Like sit down a few minutes, you're going right back in. And so I think that opening up that dialogue has helped me a lot, and just understanding. And if it is something that I'm messing up, I don't think you're working hard enough, or like, if very rarely am I getting subbed because I'm messing up. It's more of I missed a rebound that she knew I could have got, and so I need a break.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. But if it is something that I did wrong that she needs to talk to me about, we can have that conversation now. And so I think the older that I'm getting in the sport, and as I keep going, I'm learning now, like going through the game, in a sense that it's not just get subbed out, go sit on the bench, don't say anything till I come back in. It's get subbed out, what am I doing? You're doing X, Y, and Z. Go sit down, talk to the assistant coach. How can I do this better? Where do I need to pick it up when I do go back in. And I feel like all that is just learning experience, because sure, somebody could have gave me a printout of all the things that I needed to do as a freshman with all this advice, all this information on it, but I don't think it would have mattered either way if I didn't experience it for myself and figure those things out for myself. And so I think that's been where I've grown as a player and as a person, is that figuring things out in a way that I understand them, it means so much more to me than having somebody just tell me what to do.
Yeah, because you get, I don't know about you, but I kind of grew up where it was more of just do what I say. Well, why? Because I said so. And when you grow up with that,
Right.
you're capping my learning, because I can
Right.
truly understand more in depth now why this is happening. And so it gets, if this issue comes up or something similar comes up, I can solve it now more independently because I have a more in-depth understanding of the situation. And so paralleling this, wow, my vocabulary is tripping today. Oh, this is embarrassing. Gosh. But bringing it back to basketball, it's similar thing with coaching. So you get to a place sometimes where a coach doesn't fully explain what happened. They just yell and fuss and like go sit on the bench. And it's like, I know I messed up because I got yelled at. I know I messed up because I got subbed out.
Right.
And so you get back in the game and it's like you do more of the same thing and it just compounds. I think more coaches, more players will benefit from coaches kind of doing what you talked about. And it's like, well, this is what happened and this is kind of like what the situation is and what you can do moving forward. Because average player has no clue what's going on. Like, even if you can hoop, like, you don't fully know what's going on. Because if you did, more likely you just fix it. Like, it's duh. But you being the coach, you being the bird's eye view, it's on you to, like, give that knowledge, give the why, give the understanding so the player can be a smarter player. And so, do you feel like that thing right there was the biggest, like, flip of the switch for on-court improvement, to like not be down on yourself and not be so hard and not get caught in your head so much? So this is a really dope interview. I hope you guys are enjoying it. But to get the answer to this question, you guys gotta tune in next week for the next episode to continue on part 2 of this interview with Miss Malia. So thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Stay tuned for part 2 coming back real soon. Thank you. Have a good one.